streaming any second now. I'm just gonna fire up some things, you know, like the YouTube chat. For anybody tuning in on the replay, I would humbly request that you consider, you know, liking, subscribing, and that other thing people do on YouTube channels, which I believe is liking and subscribing. Yeah, and, you know, leaving comments if you have any questions, comments, or ideas. This stream is going to be a pretty quick one because I got to get to bed on a school night, but I wanted to have a little bit of fun and wanted to share something, you know, tribulations with you guys. So I'm getting that all ready right now. And whoops, what button did I just press? Oh, that's kind of cool. Okay. Well, anyway. Look at that. My monitor is flipped on me again. See, it always does it when Joseph Dredd shows up, and only when he shows up. Otherwise, the monitors will be the correct designation. But jokes aside, it's not Joseph Dredd's fault. But it is good to see Joseph Dredd, because I haven't seen you since earlier today, and I haven't seen you beyond that. Well, I've seen you in other streams, and it's always good to see you. I think you were at Floral Stream, for example. Yeah, I think Church. Was you at Church Under a Rock today? I cursed your stream. What? Oh yeah, you did. Yes, I literally insinuated that just now. So I don't know why I'm going, what? Yeah, I literally insinuated that. So, you know, it's like one extra step. Like, so for example, right now, monitor 3 is monitor 2. So I have to go into the menu in OBS and be like, swap it out like that. And then I got to make sure finally that my top monitor, see now monitor 2 is monitor 1. And this last one, thank goodness, so we can get on with this show because I have a compressed show today, and it is good to see you, Lady Mist. Thanks for dropping in. So let me just turn on my other light because, you know, my vanity demands that I'm illuminated. So I did want to record a boring tech video, but I'm going to save that for the tail end of the stream. As for the thumbnail graphic for the stream, yeah, you know what? We'll just leave the thumbnail for now. I'll change it later. For tomorrow's stream, I got some surprises for you. But you know what? I think today we're going to start with, we're going to talk about silver because it is the vampire season. Then we're going to segue into a fun conversation I had the other night on my friend Lorenzo's channel. Tomorrow we will be looking at samples of my microprocessor collection. So actually, before we talk about silver, I want to show you guys my progress. Yeah, hail to Londo of the Centauri Republic, or whatever we call it. So, I worked on a Gundam model yesterday night and at work. In fact, I started this on Saturday at my friend's house. And the funny thing about that is, I mean, you know, you got some sandpaper, some spare parts, including a kneecap. Ow. Poor microphone. I didn't mean to hit you, microphone. You okay there, little microphone? Oh my god, my phone is making so much noise. There we go. Okay, good. Sorry about that. So anyway, what we have here is a blueprint of all of my game consoles. Okay, but that's not what we're here for. But we do have that. So we're going to just put some of these Gundam markers away. And what up, JLM? Thank you for dropping in as well. This is going to be a quick stream tonight. Earlier tonight, what's his name? Deleted Scenes had a pretty good stream. I got to start, I'm building a list of links so that when I'm modding on other channels, I have a list of links, and I need to update that list more thoroughly and then make it available. But in the meantime, I'm just going to verbally mention deleted_scenes because he's a cool dude. He's a nice guy. He's a gentleman. So anyway, we're ready to show you the first part of this here. So I basically finished the Gundam and its head yesterday. But, I mean, on Saturday night, but I lost the little red thing that goes up here. See? Little red thing that goes up there. So I was going to carve one out of the runners, and I tried, but I ultimately ordered another model because this was only $11. I was like, I just ordered another one because then I could practice on my painting technique. But, you know, mostly this part's good. So I brought the model to work today to work on it at work, and that was fine. But somehow I think I lost another part, and I don't know how. I mean, I'm going to, like, take the space under my desk apart, like, maybe tomorrow night. But right now, like you can see, I got some runners here, and we got like a foot. Hey, wait a second, where's the leg? Okay, we got a leg. So basically, like, I'm missing like parts of the other leg. So I got this front piece, but I don't have any of this calf, and I kind of vaguely remember working on the calf and sandpapering it, but you know, and I didn't get rid of the panel line, but this panel line might not be designed to be gotten rid of, so I might leave that panel line alone. But if I want, I can be more aggressive with the thin cement to see if I can get that to weld basically. But yeah, I have a leg, I got the Gundam. Okay, so we got to build the hip obviously, but I think I'm missing some of the components for a leg, and they might be on this very desk. But we're just taking a quick inventory of this box to see if I'm overlooking anything. I mean, we got some leg parts here. This is an internal leg component right here. But this Gundam shield. So I painted this at work today, but I stripped it with alcohol because I want to redo it. But essentially, I was gonna like not avoid painting it, but sometimes you'll have these like flow patterns in the plastic, like, and when you sand it, it'll be a little more buff, which is not shiny anymore. But you'll get rid of those patterns. But once you have it buff, you want to make it look shiny. So the Gundam marker did good work on it. It's just that it got a little blotchy and I had to strip the paint to start over. I also painted this in white Gundam marker, and it's probably hard to see. And that's okay. We don't really want to be able to see it, but we know that this is the original color here. And I hope I don't have a fingerprint on my lens. Let's check my lens real quick. I'm going to just give that lens a good wiperoo. Actually, maybe that's, we could make a peg leg Gundam, like one of those, like G Gundam mobile suits, where like it looks like Sailor Moon. They call that Noble Gundam. I think the Neo Sweden is the owner of Noble Gundam, which looks like Sailor Moon, amongst others. But yeah, so we painted. In fact, I think we could actually. This is the original color. I mean, you really can't perceive much of a radical difference. But yeah, I definitely painted the sides in a white marker. So, anyway, we do that. Then we have this cross here. See, that's the Gundam cross or the Federation cross here. And you can see how that cross fits right there. So that's where we're going to be doing. Would the wood be too heavy? I mean, on a Gundam model, but yeah, it could be worked out. Get some balsa wood or something. And I had pretty good progress. Like, I mean, like, I got like, I think why I misplaced part of the leg was because I started prefabricating parts a few steps ahead. And that caused me to lose track. So, like I said, I might find a missing part tomorrow before I do my 1 hour stream. Hopefully I get back to my desk by 10:30 so I can do a 1 hour stream instead of like this truncated half-hour routine. Yeah, well, actually, so that's one of the things that, like, when I lost some of the components to this particular kit, I mean, I ordered a second one because it's not even a master grade. This is high grade, which is like a lower rung, basically. Master grade, to give you an idea of a master grade versus a high grade, here's like the part of the leg from a master grade, and here's the entire leg from a high grade. So this bottom part where the kneecap is, this little piece right here, that is between my thumb and index finger, is the same as the part in my left hand. So that's a master grade. Now, this was the first Gundam model I ever worked on, and at one point I thought I was going to paint it, so I took it apart before I knew what I was doing, and now I have a billion pieces that I've been finding in my desk drawer. So I just now have a pile of parts that I'm going to reunite in the near future, but I suspect there's always going to be something missing from that, and that will become a battle-damaged Gundam. No doubt about it, And that's okay. Especially if I ever do a battle diorama. And if I put my tortoise back inside his tortoise table enclosure, maybe I can make a battle diorama next to my turtle. That would be kind of cool. I think it would be cool, at least. And I have like an aquatic mobile suit as well. That like there's the bottom of a foot. Here's the back of the foot from the RX-78, and here's the back of the foot from a master grade. So high grade, master grade. So once again, and with the Gundam markers, you paint this a metallic color because really it should have a metallic color like a exhaust funnel on a rocket. And even the same thing here. But right after Friday, I'm ordering a freaking like master grade Victory Gundam of some kind because I want that Gundam. I want that transformable Gundam, and now I feel like I'm better equipped because in the past I would start building a Gundam and I would take a long break because I didn't have the patience for it, And now I think I've developed sufficient patience to move forward. So that's my plan. I'm going to stick to it. And you know what? I'm also going to try not to lose any parts. And in order to do that, we have to put the parts that we already have back in the box. So let's do that, because I'm really not trying to lose any more parts, you know, like really, like, I mean, I don't need that. I don't need that at all. You know, I don't need to be losing any more parts. Okay, so there we go. We got all of the vitals in this box. And then hopefully the missing light components will turn up somewhere in this vicinity soon. But, oh yeah, I have another box just like the one you just saw now. I have one coming in the mail like tonight or tomorrow night. So basically I'll just harvest the parts that I'm missing from that box in order to complete this Gundam. And any parts that I did a bad job on with this Gundam, I can replace. So for example, I don't like the way I did the head on this Gundam, I can improve on it. So let's see what the chat has to say before I move on to the next topic. Okay. Making a custom leg as battle damage would be cool in my opinion. DLD After Dark. DLD. Found a cool color of paint recently. Is that the name of the paint? Is the paint literally called DLD After Dark? So anyway, I want to show you guys some cool silver coins here, and it's just a small sample. Actually, let's lie to any criminal, anybody who wants to rob me of my silver. This is all of the silver I have, okay? For the record, I don't own any more silver than this, so please don't rob me, because I swear that I totally don't own any more silver than the amount that I'm showing here. Because, you know, it would be stupid to say that I had more if I did, because, you know, then you get, like, robbed. And if I did have any more, I put that shit in a fucking safe deposit box. So don't rob me, or I don't know, I'll throw a battery at you. Hey, what up, Lemon Pie? Good to see you. So it's hard to lower this camera, but maybe I'll do it. Let's see how low we can get this camera here. Just like that song, getting low, getting low, getting low. Right, that's about as low as I'm comfortable bringing the camera, I think. Well, let's see, we're gonna try something here. Yeah, I know this is pretty wild. It's like, once again, this is not my my first choice as a camera boom arm, but this is like, you know, the hero that Gotham deserves or something, right? So anyway, I think the camera's a little closer. Now it's a little awkward to manipulate this, but we're gonna try. I'm gonna try to finagle this, all right, guys? Thanks for bearing with me while I figure this out. All right, good. That's a little better, I think, because now I'm blocking my right monitor a bit, but that's okay. Okay, so let's see what silver coins. Well, let's start with the more generic ones. So actually, I have a few. I don't own any more. Actually, I said that earlier, but I have a few more of these that are not tarnished. But the tarnished one I can handle, right? So, whoops, you know, I'm not worried if I mess it up, and it doesn't really matter. Tarnished generally doesn't lower the value of it, especially if you're talking about melt value of silver bullion. And I just want to put this on my main screen so I can see what I'm showing you guys. There we go. Good. I can get that in nice sharp focus. So this is an American Silver Eagle right here. This is a sovereign silver. It has a face value of $1. You could literally spend this as legal tender in the form of $1. There's no reason to, because the melt value is like worth 10 times more, or 20 times more. But you could theoretically like pay for food, and this would become the equivalent of $1. But like, once again, you could sell it for more than that. So there's no sense in using it as legal tender in that capacity. And you just got Lady Liberty right there, you know, and you got the Rising Sun and In God We Trust. And you could tell that the open side of the packet was on this side. So that's why it's all tarnished there. And then on the obverse side, if that's the right term, the opposing side, we have this shielded eagle right here. And you can see silver is one of the most reflective metals. That's why it like reflects so much light. They use it sometimes to coat certain types of mirrors. But yeah, I got this cool Captain America looking shield thing going on here. And just trying to make sure I get it in focus. But you can see the tarnish, and I believe I can toothbrush it with some baking soda. What's up, Pop Culture Mechanic? Good to see you. He had a pretty good show earlier today if you guys want to catch that on the replay. Joseph Dredd says some Texan towns accept gold and silver as payment for taxes, and they might even give you a fair value on it instead of the you know, the face value, because that wouldn't be fair. So what's next? Well, we got a Krugerrand, not a gold Krugerrand. This is a silver Krugerrand, but of course, Krugerrands from South Africa are probably more popular in. Whoops, excuse the noise there. I just want to move this mic. Krugerrands from South Africa are probably more popular in their gold form. I would love to take these out of their containers, but generally you just store what a unprotected coin looks like. Now, maybe if I stored it differently, it wouldn't get damaged. This might be the coin that I was carrying around for good luck for a while. Because at one point when I was working retail, I carried a coin around for good luck just because it was cool to play heads or tails with it. So it's quite possible this is the coin I was carrying around in my pocket. In fact, maybe I'll start carrying it in my pocket again. But, you know, you got like a gazelle or something like that. And I wish I had I got to make a soundboard or video soundboard of Captain Archer talking about the time he went to Africa and he saw a baby gazelle getting born. And he's like, and the thing tripped over. Then it got up again. And us humans are the same. He's like talking to some Vulcans, basically saying that we might trip over, but we'll keep trying. And then you got some guy here. You got some like Dutch guy, I guess. I think his name is Paprika. Can't really read the whole name, so I'm going to just say his name is Paprika. Or Erica. Yeah, it's an E, Erica. So President Erica. No, I'm kidding. I don't know what that says, but, you know, if you know South African history, you can tell me. And he's the South African guy, apparently, because that's S-O-U-T-H. So that's one. Let's keep going. And we got some cool stuff here. So I'm going to show you some boring. I'm going to show you the boring stuff first. So, of course, you know, we got our Canadian friend. I don't have any maple leaves here, Pop Culture Mechanic, but I do have something with the Queen on it. We got an Australian kangaroo coin. You know, and these are all, you know, 0.9999% fine silver. You know, it's pretty pure stuff. And, of course, because it's from a country, a Commonwealth nation, we got, you know, the last Queen, Queen Elizabeth on here, right here. I guess Queen Elizabeth II. She's like Ghostbusters too. Queen Elizabeth II. And this says Australian. And you got a nice little pattern on there. Nice engraving. And then we got another kangaroo here. Let's skip that. I'm going to save one of the cooler ones for a couple of steps later. Alright, so this one here, once again. Now, these are weird. These aren't actually, I don't think these are sovereign coins at all. I think these are just, so when you get sovereign silver, meaning from a government or from a government mint, you'll get something like the kangaroo. The Krugerrand, and the American Silver Eagle. These are all issued by, you know, the mint, the respective mints of each of those nations. Interesting, thank you. That says Africa with a K, not C-A, but Africa with a, you know, A-F-R-I-K-A. Hey, what up, Alan Copeland? Long time no see. It's good to see you, Alan. I want to go to Canada and get some $5 coins. That does sound kind of cool. And when I go and buy, if I use a MetroCard machine, it does spit out change in the form of dollar coins. The problem is it doesn't usually give you more. The New York MetroCard machines don't usually spit out more than $6 in coins. One time, I actually spent like, I think $5, $10 shipping to order $250, $1 coins, Sacagawea coins, and President coins. And that was just a one-off. It was cool. It came in like a nice canvas bag, and I just felt like some guy from ancient times wearing a satchel hanging from my belt full of coins. But they're still token currency, unlike these precious metals right here. So yeah, you know, it's got like a nice little crown and a hair detail. But this is a round. So silver rounds are different. Really, like they don't have, like these are worth a little bit more just because, like, I don't know, they're made out of fancy mint. These, I mean, they're made with quality in this case, but some rounds are not made with quality. And at the end of the day, when you're buying a silver round, it's the same thing as buying a blank silver bar. Your goal is just to have that weight, that silver, that physical, you know, store of wealth. That's the priority there. So now, moving on, this is one of the first silver coins I ever bought. And this is, I probably shouldn't be handling it without gloves, but whatever. It's not the end of the world. So this is cool as hell, I think. This is a, what do you call it? Republic of Österreich. And this is a Philharmonic. And you can see on the front, it says Philharmonic, although some people read it as Philharmonica, but I'm pretty sure that's like one of those silent pronunciations there. So this is a Wiener Philharmonic Silber, which is just, I guess, German or Austrian for silver. This is the Austrian Philharmonic, which is why we have musical instruments on here. Yeah, and Pop Culture Mechanic confirms our maple leaves are 9.9999% pure. That is true. And some of my silver would say 999, but I'm pretty sure 999 and quad 9 is like a distinction with very little difference at that point. But anyway, I don't know if any of these have any of the alloys in them to make them stronger or what, more resilient to tarnish. So yeah, there's our Austrian. I just love how that harp looks on that coin. You got like a French horn or whatever the heck that intricate looking thing. You got some violins. And then you got the, I guess that's the Philharmonic building, or that could be the government house. I don't know which, but I gotta say, these look pretty cool. They don't have any ridges on the side, so they're inherently shiny all around. And I'm sure, pop quiz, can anybody answer why coins have ridges on the side? They don't need them as much anymore, but at one time they served a vital function, these ridges. And if nobody answers, I'll tell you why in a moment. But there's a very good reason, especially when it comes to gold coinage. There's a reason why you have these ridges on the side. Today we put the ridges on for tradition, but even with these silver coins I'm holding right now, if there were no ridges on here and nobody was weighing them, I could just shave off tiny little filings of silver from every coin and collect it. Yeah, exactly, JLM, you got it. To prevent clipping, correct. The ridges prevent clipping. Okay, now, do I want to save? Yeah, what the hell? We're going to go to one of the coolest ones right here. So this one's super cool right here. Can anyone tell me who this is? Yes, correct. That is Tio Tia Tiquan. I'm kidding. I don't know his name, but it says it right here. So this is 1 troy ounce, which all of these are 1 troy ounce of fine silver, basically. And this is obviously some kind of like, you know, South American, Native American type guy, right? And this guy's name, it says on the bottom, it says, I never noticed that before. You are let me just see. Cuauhtémoc. That's Cuauhtémoc. C-U-A-H Cuauhtémoc. So that's Cuauhtémoc right there. And this is super cool. Okay, this is that 2012 end of the world type shit right there. Look at that. Look how cool that is. This is like one of the, I wish I had more of these. These just look so cool. Like, this is the coolest gimmick I've ever bought. I mean, and they're actually very nice looking. You got one of them, it looks like an Olmec actually, but I'm not an expert in South American cultures, but recently I went down the rabbit hole of the belief that, yes, the Mayan calendar. Thank you, Pop Culture Mechanic. I think that is correct. That's why it reminded me of the end of the world. At least I think it reminds me of that. But yeah, anyway, so, you know, you can see, but it's just so intricate, this pattern. We got some, like, looks like we see, like, a rat up here or some animal, unless that's just a leaf. That could just be leaves. Yeah, those are just plants, I think. But it's just a beautiful pattern. And one day, if I liberate one of these from the plastic, I'll put it under a USB microscope or something, you know? I mean, really get, like, a separate light for my desk, maybe. So we can really get a good look at this. But these are just so cool. So yeah, I really like this coin a lot just because it's got a cool pattern on it, you know, and it's like, it's hip with the end of the world, you know, thing. So that's kind of good too, I guess. You know, if you're going to end the world and try to come out the other side with precious metals, you might as well have the end of the world coin. So moving forward, got a couple more interesting things. So one of these is a little more mundane. I've been meaning to liberate this from the plastic, but I just don't want to, you know, I don't know. I haven't done that yet, but this is Jägermeister bullion. Yeah, Jägermeister, the beer company, they sell YBS, which I think they have a logo that says YBS somewhere. And yeah, here it says YBS. YPS, Jaeger poured silver. So apparently, I don't know why they got into the business of pouring silver into ingots, but here we go. We got a 5-ounce nugget right over here in like a nice, like, ingot shape. So these are pretty cool. You know, so yeah, nice, like, little hunk right there of silver. And just looks cool. And I don't know if you can hear the noise. So now, do I want to show you the antiques or do I want to show you the new ones? Let's show you guys the new ones first. So this one here is sealed, but this is a giant quarter. And normally I don't go for a dumb gimmick like this, but the cost above spot wasn't that bad. And it wasn't so much the quarter that I gave a shit about, because I don't want a giant quarter. That just confuses me. But I mean, this on the back right here, and this is not even the prettiest one, but this one is really nice. I like it because it's got a smooth pattern on it. This is American Memorial Park in the Northern Marianas Islands. And, you know, it's got the usual E pluribus one for all for one. I'm just kidding. I don't know what that means. But anyway, you got different flags. I think that's like the Marines, the Army, whoever the hell else. But the various groups that took that island during the war, I presume, or just memorializing people and groups of soldiers that participated in the island hopping campaign of World War II. So yeah, we got that. You got like a coin commemorating a memorial, basically, on a pretty isolated island. And you got, I guess, an islander woman or a native or a Polynesian lady there. That's kind of cool. So that's that. And then I have one that's actually cracked open, so we can actually see what's inside. So let's get inside this one here. So first I'll show you the outside, alright? So this is Shawnee. I believe it's the name of a park, unless they're just referring to the Native American nation of Shawnee of Illinois. You got like a bird, probably an eagle, and some rocks. Same thing on the front. Let's crack it open, because there's actually, this one fell, I think, and it cracked open the case. Here it is. Yeah, there's a crack right here. So we're just gonna crack that open, and then we're gonna try to get that thing out. See how reflective silver is? So yeah, you got this thing here, you got some rocks here. It's got like a very dimensional pattern on it. You can just see right there, like from the side, how much of a bumpiness that has. I think it's beautiful. And on the side of these, they just have like a pretty flat, they don't have any ridges on them really, but they do have something distinct on them. So they have like this seam, then they tell you 0.999 fine silver, 5.0 ounce. So they got that going on it, and so that's that, right? So I hope that looks interesting to some of us. And yes, my camera loses focus at the edges, but the center is in focus. Unless I hold it this far away, then I can get like 99% in the focus. So yeah, this one's pretty cool. This type is pretty cool. So as an alternative to buying 5-ounce bars, I found these to be a pretty reasonable value. So I was happy to pick some of these up. Oh, dude, well, my dad had a cataract surgery, or was it cataract? It was something similar. What he did was he received, they installed some Boston Loam intraocular lenses. These things are freaking cool. So the intraocular lens is like, if this is your eye, they take the lens out the middle, right? And then they essentially have this like contact lens, but that permanently gets installed. And on the edge of it, it's got a compliant mechanism. Sort of like if you ever took apart something that has a button on it, it's got that like plastic that's shaped like a zigzag, and it's supposed to make it flex. So basically, they attach that part of the lens to the muscles that normally control your eye focus. And essentially now your eyes are adjusting an artificial lens in order to achieve focus. And ever since my dad got that operation, he hasn't needed to wear glasses, because that lens effectively replaces glasses and contacts alike. But whatever procedure your father's got, I wish you the best of luck. I don't know if you're religious. If you are, I'll say a prayer. I'm not very religious, but I'll do it anyway, because we all gotta hedge our bets, But I'll definitely have him in my thoughts regardless. And the next liberal who bitches about somebody saying thoughts and prayers, I'm gonna punch him. No, I'm kidding. You ever hear that when like some people give like a genuine, heartfelt, response to something bad happening, and then lefties on Facebook bitch and moan that, oh, they're saying thoughts and prayers. It's like, they're trying to be nice, motherfucker. Anyway, enough of ranting on that. It's just some pattern I noticed when I used to frequent social media. I don't really frequent that type of social media much anymore. I use it to share the occasional upload when I upload stuff from high school, because I'm running the High School Historical Society. Not really running it. I just have a YouTube channel and I post it on a group. Getting back on topic here. Oh, by the way, if I don't find my Nintendo Switch Pro controller by tomorrow night, if I play Pod Race at any point during the stream, I will be playing it on an N64 with an HDMI on it, because That is how frustrating it is to play with the freaking Joy-Con. That particular game with the Joy-Con, frustrating. But anyway, what else do I have to show you guys? Well, finally, the last silver item I have to show you. These are kind of interesting. So this thing, actually, I originally bought this tube and look, it came with like 0.1 ounce rounds that were not actually government silver, but they used the same pattern as the mercury dime. But then I found some quote-unquote junk silver. And junk silver is great because basically you could buy currency. So these used to be 10-cent dimes, but back in the day, a 10-cent dime or 10 cents was synonymous with this amount of weight in silver. So whatever weight in silver this is, let's say this cost me $2 at the time I bought it. And probably did cost me about $2. So yeah, these are worth $2. And even in the old days when 10 cents was 10 cents, the reality was that 10 cents could buy the equivalent of $2 in today's goods. So yeah, you'd be spending 10 cents on a loaf of bread or something like that, on a ride on the bus, for example, or what have you. And these are just cool because they got the old Greek god, I believe it's a Greek god known as Mercury. This one's from 1941. And they look pretty worn. These have been pretty good and circulated here. And you got the I believe these are called fascists. It's like, I think the word fascist derives from the name of this item here. That is correct. Junk silver is around 80%. Basically 80%. Like sometimes you'll get like, what do you call it? The Kennedy half dollars will have like 50% silver in them, which is still better than, you know, nothing, you know, especially compared to modern token coinage, as I call it. And if anybody's into that stuff, I will pull up a video for you guys that I watched many years ago, back when I was in my like Austrian economics kick, when I was really like going around proselytizing Austrian economics like no, it was nobody's business. Let me see here, Rome coinage. Let me see if I can find this here. Okay, cool. I did find, well, there's multiple uploads of this, but I believe it is this one here. And there's versions of this lecture on the Mises Institute website, so you don't have to just go, you know, and get it from YouTube. But essentially, this guy here, he gives his whole talk about inflation during the fall of the Roman Empire, and his main source material is Sir Edward Gibbons's book, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. So, you know, if you want to see that, I just thought it's like I could never find this guy. I think he was a professor at Baruch in the 80s. Baruch is a business school in, you know, in Manhattan, but like just the lens by which this guy talked about this topic, I thought was kind of cool in its own right. And to give you an example, you know, you'd have back in the day, you'd have gold coins, you'd have silver coins in the Roman Empire, and if they were inflating the currency supply too much, they would mix it with bronze, and periodically the mint would literally, like, you know, by order of the government or whatever, remelt it. And it got to a point when Rome started, like, you know, having a shit army, or when their army regulars were really not that loyal, they had to pay the barbarians, you know, in gold. The barbarians, how barbaric they are, had the good sense to demand, you know, proper gold bullion. Whereas the citizenry would just get robbed gradually. And of course, if your gold coin has a high portion of bronze in it, your bread, you're going to be spending more coins to buy the same amount of bread. And part of that was because, as you'll hear if you listen to that, you know, audio recording, is that whenever an emperor had like raised an army or something like that, he would give like extra payment called donatives. And I'm not familiar with this term up until when I learned it from this. But essentially, it would be like a bonus pay, so to speak, for the soldiers. And depending on whose treasury that was coming out of, whether it was personal or sovereign, governmental, you know, that could have consequences inflation-wise. And since, you know, their way of inflating was to just mix it with other metals. Anodized coins would look cool. That would look cool, yeah. Like, I mean, does a copper penny with zinc on the inside count? Does a zinc penny with copper on the outside count as anodized? I don't know, but they are plated. Shit currency was a part of the downfall of Rome. Absolutely. It was definitely a factor. And that's why before I saw that, like, that lecture, like, it was like first saw it like 12 years ago, I never considered it, like about 10, 11 years ago, I never considered it through that lens. So I thought it was just another angle. And I still didn't finish the Sir Edward Gibbons book. I got it on, as far as audiobooks go, it is the best value for an audiobook credit, because an audiobook credit is worth $12 and you're getting like a 130-hour audiobook for that money, you know, for that credit, and you could do it through the Amazon Audible app. The downside is that there's freaking like 5 versions of the book, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. And so when I was buying it, I was sitting there like, well, which one do I buy? Like, which voice actor, which narrator is better? And that was challenging for me to like decide at the time. But I think I'm okay with the one I have. It's just that it's hard to listen to a 100-hour book for too long, you know? I'm going to check out that link later. Yeah, I highly recommend it. If it interests you, I think you'll enjoy it, Joseph Dredd, and anybody else who is remotely interested in that. So let's see here. Do I want to give a preview of tomorrow? No, because then I won't have anything for tomorrow. So yeah, you guys aren't getting a preview. And if I do this, so you'll notice today's stream was titled, you know, like 001. What did I title it? Like bonus. Yeah, Sunday bonus number 1. So yeah, I mean, so basically if I skip next week and I do one the following week, that'll be Sunday bonus number 2. And I'll keep it going. Maybe if I, you know, keep it, maybe I'll even make an intro or an opening. But what I will do is at some point I do have to make an intro for the Monday show, because that one, we're going to keep riding that train. We're going to keep that one going because, you know, it works. For some reason, it makes me enjoy Mondays a bit more. And I mean, granted, Monday night is right before I go into my Friday, which is Tuesday is my Friday. That's like the last day of my work week. So I'm already in a pretty good mood knowing that I go to bed, I wake up, and it's already Friday. You know? So there's that. And JLM says, I think pennies are like a laminate. Layers of copper over a layer of zinc. Not sure, but the US Mint, will tell you if you ask nicely. Or I could just melt that shit, make it into slag, and figure it out. No, I'm kidding. That sounds like a pain in the ass, actually. Oh, yeah, I remember what I want to touch upon. Let's see, this might be a little awkward, because I really should be downloading this video for, like, later consumption. But what happened was my homeboy, Lorenzo Sleestack, was nice enough to have me on his channel. And, so, you know, he had this stream. And, like, some guy was giving me shit about the earth being flat. This guy's nice. I thought that guy we were just looking at, I thought he was the one yelling at me about the earth being flat. But it wasn't him. It was this other guy. I think it was this guy. No, not this guy. Smoking Wraith, which he's hidden behind Lorenzo's avatar right now. But Smoking Wraith is like, he's a nice enough guy, I guess. He builds homes. He's a construction worker. But because his grandma saw a picture of the, so this is what happened. Like, he's arguing that like the rockets can't work in space. But before we get to that topic, let's see what we have some interesting things about currency. So I don't want to change the topic on you guys, but it looks like we got some bustling activity here. And you know, so Joseph Dredd says the Weimar Republic, Germany, had a lot in common with the later days of the Roman Empire. JLM says correct, Joseph Dredd. And then Pop Culture Mechanic upholds Canadian pennies are zinc with copper plating or steel with copper plating. So when I was a kid, I read something that said it was healthier to participate in a Canadian penny eating contest, because at the time, at least, I read this in like high school, I believe Canadian pennies still were made of pure copper. They must have changed that at some point, because you can't keep making like copper pennies. If the copper is worth 5 cents on a 1 cent penny, you can't keep producing that type of penny, because then people like me will start asking themselves, should I be melting these? And in fact, you try finding a penny from before 1982 so that you can melt it, and you're not going to find them. I mean, you'll find some, but it's a numbers game. If you have this many pennies, you'll find a couple of pre-1982 pennies, but it's like every time I pick up a penny off the ground, like I used to pick up pennies off the ground hoping to find one that was made of pure copper. I gave up on that because I didn't want to be, look like a stereotype. Even though I'm Italian, I have an Italian nose, which can be mixed up. Anyway, okay, bad joke. So getting back on topic here. Oh, cool, you're a bicycle rider too, JLM? That's great, me too, man. As a bicycle rider, I can attest the earth is not flat. Yeah, that's true, though. That is true. Gotta have a good gear shift, which I gotta lubricate my chain soon. I really want to overhaul my drivetrain, but that's a topic that Pop Culture Mechanic would, delve into, I'm sure. So anyway, our penny stopped being copper in 1996, and stopped all penny production in 2012. Oh, okay. I did not know that. The U.S. pennies before a certain year were copper, 1974. I believe it was before 1982 JLM. I'm pretty sure it was before, because I know you can find a penny up to like 1982, but you're not going to find a 1981 penny. And I believe they were pure. Now, the other year, I think it was like 1962, maybe, when they stopped doing the bimetallism with the silver coinage. So the pennies, they went to zinc pennies much later than when we departed from silver or partially silver coinage, like quarters that were mixed with silver, you know? But let me see if I can find the clip here. Here it is. So we're talking about Babylon 5. And they're talking about Amos from Babylon 5. And I'm just giving my 2 cents. But somehow, I want to find the part. Just give me... we're almost there. Just hang with me, guys, a second. I'll unmute the audio. Oh, good, okay. Okay, good, I found it. Okay, so we're talking about the Expanse. And in the Expanse, the Rocinante is a ship, you know, like, looks like a rocket, right? It's sort of like a Corvette or runabout for a bigger Martian ship. And both the Pillar of Autumn, no, that's not the name of it. What the hell is the name of the ship from the Expanse? The big Martian ship that gets attacked in the, like, second episode. I can't remember the Donager. So the Donager is a big Martian ship. What up, Bone? Good to see you. And the floor plan of the Donager is that it's like a skyscraper. So all of the decks are stacked like this. And that's because when the propulsion is running, the type of engines they have on the Expanse are like sort of like nuclear propulsion, but they also have some voodoo magic that allows them to like last a lot longer on the same amount of fuel. And right, I know I did name a Halo ship. So anyway, when the ship is under 1G of acceleration, the people standing in the ship can't tell the difference between whether they're on a rocket or standing on a planet. I mean, yeah, the ship is vibrating when the engine's running. Maybe you can figure that out. But basically, the bottom line is that your muscles, your bones are going to feel like they're on a planet with 1G of gravity. And that's going to help to prevent muscular atrophy. That's going to prevent, you know, the equivalent of osteoporosis. So it's just a good all-around situation, because in the Expanse, we were talking about in this conversation on Lorenzo's show, they don't have, inertial dampers or artificial gravity. And these are two of the main MacGuffin devices in Star Trek and Star Wars that make it possible for, you know, Millennium Falcon to accelerate rapidly and make a sharp turn and decelerate without turning Princess Leia or Luke into raspberry jam, because that is what happens when you stop short. And there's even a scene on the Expanse where a ship comes to a sudden decelerates rapidly, and the guy sitting in the seatbelt of his ship, his whole body like gets torn apart. The seatbelts hold him down, but the rest of his body go around the fucking seatbelt straps, and it just turns into a bunch of red broken bones and guts just being all over the windshield and instrument panel. And that's a pretty realistic situation in terms of like what the body can handle. So anyway, that's the thing we like about the Expanse. So I'm talking about the Rocinante and how both the Rocinante and the Donager, in this case I'm doing the Rocinante, which is just a scaled down version of the big Martian ship. You know, it's got a single engine in the back or a single drive cone. But when it's under thrust, your floor plan is from the bottom up. So the front of the ship, where the nose is, would actually be up. And so in the books for the Expanse, I think they actually make accommodation for that. So when Alex Kamal is piloting the Rocinante in the Expanse books, he's sitting in a gimbaled seat. His seat can like rotate basically to reorient with the window and what have you. They also use special couches, sort of like the Forever War, where they don't just sit in a special chair that injects them with steroids to make them, you know, withstand high G forces, but they're actually inside of like basically a special cocoon that is full of liquid or gel, and so they're given the drugs that prevent stroke. So basically, they're inside of a special pod that cushions their whole body under pressure, and they're given anti-stroke medication at the same time, and those two things work together to, you know, protect the person from dying when the ship is going at 12 or 14 G's of force. So anyway, I'm talking about the floor plan of the Rossi. So we're gonna play this. Hopefully the audio ain't too loud, but listen to the guy in the background. He's gonna say that rockets can't work in space or some shit like that. It's like gravity. It works.
Even
The second thing is,
work in a vacuum, but that's fine.
he's saying rockets don't work in a vacuum, but that's all right. He says rockets don't work in a vacuum, but that's all right. Wait, of course that would work in a vacuum.
No,
okay, unless you're a flat earther. But
propulsion would not work in a vacuum. That's
it does work in a vacuum. There's ways you can experiment at home on that.
That's physics.
Propulsion does not work in a vacuum. That's physics. Physics, but it's a huge common misconception amongst.
Propulsion only works when there's something to push off of.
So his assertion is that propulsion would only work if there's something to push off of, and it's a common misconception. I get it. I understand, like, you know, and sometimes you'll get like 5 people who think the Earth is flat, 5 people who think the Earth is round, and the people who are correct might not be able to make a critical argument, and the flat earthers aren't going to listen even if they did make a critical argument. But in this case, I kind of have a pretty okay idea of how this works, but I get it. Like, most people would be caught off guard with that response. That's why a lot of flat earth videos, a lot of moon hoax videos that, you know, firmly believe that not only the moon landing was a hoax, but they believe that it's impossible. Some people believe that the moon landing is possible, but that it was still a hoax. You know, so different, you know, people, it's like a buffet. They choose the ideas they want, you know, the conspiracy theories they want. And real quick, JLM says, in his books, notably the Honor Harrington series. Oh, David Weber calls it inertial compensators in his books, most notably the Honor Harrington book. So yeah, Honor Harrington, I think it's about a female captain. I believe the first book in this series is called Basilisk Station. I've been meaning to get in on that. I just haven't yet. Hell, I might even start that tonight before bed if I need a new bedtime story. And if not tonight, very soon, because you're kind of selling me on this here, JLM. You're selling me on Honor Harrington. We did land on the moon, but it was flat. You're pulling my leg bone. Or perhaps you're pushing on my leg. I don't know. That makes no sense. I feel like there's some... I'm trying to make a gravity joke, but I got nothing. Is it flat? Well, that's a different rabbit hole. So anyway, where was I? So yeah, I'm arguing with this guy. That's not how that works. And I'm insisting... Oh yeah, so I didn't answer the question. Why does it not work that way? Well, basically, they have that Newtonian law, and every action has an equal opposite reaction. So how did I try to demonstrate that? That's literally not how that works. What works is, I know you don't have a vacuum chamber, but it's a little hard to, like, you know, expect anyone to have that at home, but it is the gas coming out that essentially, how do I phrase it? That fucking Newtonian shit, equal opposite reaction. Now, can I explain it properly? No, I'm not going to pretend to explain it properly, but you don't need an atmosphere to push off of. Essentially, in vacuum, you releasing the thrust, releasing the gas is what's making you move forward. You're not pushing off anything. You're just, in fact, here's an example. I'll give you a better example. Forget about thrust. I have this bottle in my hand, and I'm standing in my spacesuit. Oh, can I do this? Oh shit! I'm so sorry. This bottle. Okay, that didn't work because my chair is not on friction. Okay, so what I was trying to do was in theory. So basically, I'll just skip to the part where, like, I explain what I was trying to do. So imagine you're standing on a skateboard, and you have like a 10-pound ball, a 10-pound medicine ball, maybe a 10-pound weight, whatever it is. You're on a skateboard on a really smooth floor, and you have a 10-pound weight in your hand, and you chuck that weight in whatever direction. Let's say you're standing on a skateboard and you throw a 10-pound weight this way. What happens? Because, like, I get the guy saying that, like, I need to be pushing off the wall. Okay, that worked. But hold on, what's happening? My chair's moving backwards when I'm pushing. Am I pushing off the air right now? I mean, I can feel the air, but I don't think I'm getting enough force from the air to push me here. So something else is happening here. I know it looks like I'm doing, like, Hail Emperor, but... And I think if I do it with a bottle of water, the effect might even be multiplied. I know this is crazy that we're doing physics experiments at my desk. Okay, whatever. Anyway, okay. So, point is, you're standing on a skateboard on a smooth floor, and you throw a ball that away, like a 10-pound medicine ball. I guarantee you, you will move in the opposite direction of that ball. Why does that happen? Is it because as you're releasing the ball, it's pushing off on the air and it's pushing you forward? Well, all you did was let go of the ball. So that can't be it, or that's not it. I don't know if it can't be it, but it's not the case in this case. And if you did this while standing in a spacesuit in a vacuum chamber, it would work. In fact, there we go. There's an experiment. Make a vacuum chamber the size of a room. Maybe go to NASA, rent theirs out, and stand on a skateboard in a airless environment and throw a ball at, in whatever direction, and that skateboard will move. And that's the same principle on a rocket. Same thing like if you ever see those water rockets where like you put pressurized air over here and the air pushes the water out. Now, people think that as the water's coming out, it's pushing off the ground or it's pushing on the surrounding air and that's moving forward. But no, that's not what's happening. It's literally the weight of the water being released is having an opposite reaction. And one interesting way to do this is if you ever rinse out a 2-liter bottle of soda, I discovered this when I was a kid, and I use the word discover very loosely, but I made this observation when I was 10 years old. I was rinsing out a soda bottle. As the water's coming out the bottom, like really quickly, at the very tail end of the water coming out, it felt like the bottle was going up. Now, it could have just been the way that my arm was, was holding it up and there was less resistance. But I think there's something there. But the point is, I don't think this guy had his facts straight, but there's more. But wait, there's more. Let me just skip to it. I'm not going to subject you guys to all of the audio here. And I feel really bad because the guy over here was giving me shit, and I thought it was this young man over here. Now, luckily, I was nice to this guy. Excuse me. I was nice to this guy who was being a dick. So, because I was being nice to him while thinking it was this guy, I wasn't a dick to this guy, thank God. Because, this guy was actually nice. But for some reason, I thought he was the one talking and not this jerk. But let me get this scene. I'm gonna find it. Got it. Got it. That's why, okay, real quick. Because force equals mass times acceleration. Okay, so let me see if I understand that correctly. I got my force and then the mass of the 10-pound weight being hurled in that direction. And so I'm using force. And the mass of that object is being accelerated. And the act of accelerating that amount of mass is what's creating the force. And so when you ignite rocket fuel, so you can have pressurized liquid oxygen or liquid hydrogen coming out the back of a nozzle, and that'll create some thrust. But when you light that shit up, it comes out at a much faster speed. Like when you light liquid oxygen and liquid hydrogen together, it's coming out faster. So that seems to support what JLM is saying about mass times acceleration. So that's pretty cool. That's why. Or a balloon. And yeah, it's true, air coming out of a balloon, same principle, but I can see where someone might misinterpret that as the balloon pushing on the surrounding air. And even though they would be not entirely right, I can see where that would be a less clear-cut example, but that's still accurate. Mass, the force be with you. So let's see what we got here. Unmuting the audio. The opposite direction, and that is the basic principle of how rockets work in vacuum.
Yeah, I disagree.
Fair enough.
Why did they have a picture of Earth before the first moon landing?
I don't know. Well, specifically in what way? So yeah, he asked me, why did they have a picture of the Earth before the first moon landing? And at the time, I wasn't even thinking like, of the answer to this, really, because like I knew it was a dumb question, but I do have an answer to this in retrospect, and I'll get to that in a moment. Nitromethane would probably work. Watched driving for answers today. Huh. I didn't even know nitromethane. I know that you can find nitrogen and methane on, you know, Titan, the moon of Saturn, but I didn't know. That's interesting. I'll have to look into that, but I could see. I have no idea. That's interesting. Okay, let's keep going.
In the office of Richard, what was it, Richard Nixon or whoever the fuck
So
the president
basically,
was during the moon landing, 69. I think it was Nixon. He had a picture of Earth from the moon while the moon landing was happening.
So you hear that? Richard Nixon, while being president during Apollo 11, had a picture of the moon during the moon landing. And so clearly it must have been fake, because you can't have a picture of the Earth if nobody ever landed on the moon before that, right? And I was like, well, instead of going and trying to argue and, you know, kind of like think of a logical reply, I just decided to focus on, well, like, how do you even know what you're talking about? Because, like, you know, like, and basically his answer was his grandma saw it. And so it's like, I wasn't about to tell him his grandma might be stupid or that his grandma might be sorely disinformed. Either one would be taken as a potential insult. So I wasn't going to go down that route. Plus, I don't even know if his grandma really said that. But I love when people, like with the Mandela effect, they do the same thing. They'll be like, my mom was really into history and she thought Nelson Mandela died in the 80s. And it's like, well, your mom could be fallible. Everyone's mom could be fallible when it comes to history. But anyway, that being besides the point, my answer to this, I just remembered, like, 2 days after this freaking stream, or a day after the stream, I remembered something. Well, so an orbiter orbiting the Earth, no. But orbiter, as in JLM orbiting the moon, absolutely. That is the answer. Because I think it was Apollo 8 in which we, you know, because we did multiple Apollo missions where we orbited the Earth and we, you know, did other stuff. And then we did an Apollo mission before Apollo 11, whatever that number that was, where we orbited the moon. And, well, there you go. That's how you get your fucking picture of the Earth right there. That's how Nixon has a picture of the entire Earth. Because, you know, that's the challenge, is getting a full disc picture of the Earth in a single frame. You know, you need that distance for that to work. And that was the answer. That was it. You know, done. You know, and I think at some point I showed pictures of the Discover satellite, because this is a popular flat Earth argument. So this is a satellite called the Deep Space Climate Observatory. I should do a separate video on this one day, but basically the short and dirty is it's designed to take pictures of the Earth. And in fact, real quick, so anyway, these pictures are taken 30 seconds apart. And when you have the moon too close to the camera, you essentially get the color fishing. So we're seeing evidence of the green filter wheel here. And I think if we look at the left, we might see some
That shit
red.
looks worse than Disney, than modern Disney.
Yeah,
I don't care if it's just the green.
And you can see how the Earth is a nice focus over here, but the moon isn't. And that's because this satellite is literally not designed to take a picture of the moon. That's not its job. Like, it's a cool picture. NASA shared the picture for the novelty, but essentially the moon is photobombing the Earth in this example. Like, this is not the intent. In fact, we're going to get into that in a second. All right, Joseph Dredd, you have a good night. Yeah, don't worry. This stream won't be very long, so, you know, whatever you catch in the, you know, replay won't be a lot, so it should be pretty easy to catch up on. But real quick, I want to touch on JLM. He said, it has enough, regarding nitromethane, it has enough oxygen present to combust if combustion was needed. Why not a photo from an orbiter? Yep, we discussed that. Good call. He was old. I figured he would not survive prison. Regarding Nelson Mandela, his wife was more brutal. Huh. So yeah, good night to Joseph Dredd.
It looks fucking terrible.
Well, there's a reason for that, and yeah, there's a good reason for that. So especially when you see there's an animated sequence where it's like multiple frames of the moon going tunk, 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 you know, from left to right, and my coworker's like, that's obviously fake. It's like, you know, but no, it's out of focus because the camera is focused on the Earth. So anyway, not gonna give you the whole, you know, thing because I don't have time, but I'm gonna find pictures here. Here we go. So this telescope here is a lot like my old telescope, and it's got a mirror in the back, it's got another mirror in the front, and the camera has what we call a filter wheel, and essentially it uses a black and white camera to capture color photos with a red, blue, and green filter, but it also has infrared filters. It has filters that can detect specific elements, And so if they want to isolate, like, you know, how much water vapor is in the atmosphere, the color of the picture or the amount of colors in the picture. In fact, I wish I clicked on this link down here. The camera is called the Earth Polychromatic Imaging Camera. So that sort of gives you a hint of what it's doing, you know? But bottom line is that these filters allow you to like isolate elements. But to get a color picture like the one we saw here, they use the same process I use. And essentially what they do is they take a picture with a red filter in black and white. Then they take a picture with a blue filter in black and white. And then a green filter. And these pictures are taken 30 seconds apart. And so in that 30-second period, you're going to have some fringing. Now, the camera is calibrated and adjusted to give you a properly looking Earth. The camera is not at all calibrated or adjusted to give you like a clean moon, which is why it looks blurry and why you have the color fringing. But that color fringing shows you that a very real camera was used to get these images. You know, like if this was to be faked, you wouldn't need to do this crappier than Disney artwork. That is my point. So, yeah, you know, that's basically what I want to say about that. Did I want to add anything else? Right now, I can't really remember what else I wanted to add about that. You know, I mean, sure, I could probably find one more. What the hell is the guy's name? Vernon. I can't remember the guy's name. Carl Vernon. Okay, good. I found him. So, this guy's YouTube channel, I usually agree with the guy. This is Carl Vernon, and he's a comedian. He's a UK guy. And look, they got a lot of inherent distrust of the government in the UK, rightfully so. You know, we could talk about 2020 if we wanted to, but let's not. So, now I'm going to find the video clip where, yikes, you got Jacinda. Then we got You Might Be Sock. I don't know what's real anymore. Good, it's muted. So, at the end of this video, they do this thing where they play obnoxious laughter. So right here, so what does this look like?
Will it still be funny?
So basically, this video spends time bitching about deep fakes and AI, and I get that. That's cool. You know, there's some valid concerns there. But now what he's doing is he's showing some green screen or rotoscope footage of guys from a movie laughing at the telemetry animation of the Indian space probe. It's got like a name, like the Chandriya. Let's see, Chandriya 3. Yeah, there we go. I got it. I just misspelled the name of that probe, and I got the answer. So, that's the Chandrayaan 3. And, yeah, does it look like it's put together in your garage? Maybe, but it is a very clean design. And, essentially, you know, this thing sits inside an aerodynamic nose cone. So, when it's leaving the atmosphere, none of this stuff is being hit by the, you know, wind, so to speak. So, it doesn't need to be aerodynamic or anything like that. If it looked, you know, too sleek, that would make it look faker than it looks right now. And just to give you an idea, this is the launch configuration of the payload you just looked at. And so before, you know, it leaves the atmosphere, it's in a protected cone. So none of this is going to get blown by, you know, the air as it's, you know, hitting wind resistance. But once it's in space, this cone gets separated, and then the thing can fly 250,000 miles to the moon. No problem. There's no, you know, wind resistance. So that's why people would say, why does a plane have to be aerodynamic to go 1,000 miles? But this thing could go, you know, 250,000 miles and not be aerodynamic. And that's the answer. And it's just like my Apollo landing video that I still have to, you know, finish and upload. Everything here has a very deliberate design. Like everything's well documented. You could build one of these yourself, probably. Like, these are all, you know, parts that you could build or buy or, you know, cannibalize or whatever. And I get that flat earthers might not believe in orbital mechanics, but they're actually giving us like how it got to the moon right here. This is like, you know, I get it. If I was a flat earther or a moon hoaxer, I might doubt it. But all of this stuff is quite sound and quite well documented. So that was what I wanted to share on that. And then I'll go back to the dumb video. Let's see if anybody in the chat has anything to add here. So, yeah, you know, Jalem says, just have a nice sleep. My cat is spoiled rotten, refusing to eat bacon. Wow, that is spoiled rotten. Sorry for the off topic. Oh, it's okay. I love going off topic like all the time. That's like my thing. That's what I do. You can ask pop culture mechanic. I'll just be like, I love my turtles. Look, I do it right now. I love my turtle. See, going off topic. Isn't she cute? I love Puffy. She's a sweetheart. and her stepsister Squirtle is in the background. We should bring them on stream this week, maybe, do some quality time. Leave a reminder in the comments if anybody really wants to see a turtle on my desk, like Wednesday or thereafter. So yeah, anyway, this not jerk, but this guy who is sorely disinformed is playing his laugh track. And so, yeah, does it look fake?
Will it still be funny?
Sorry, I don't want to keep playing that. So, you see a cartoon or, you know, a drawn diagram, then you see these animated thruster firings. And what are we looking at? Well, this guy seems to be doing the laughter and playing all these people, like, you know, in fast motion because he's trying to imply it's fake. But the problem is that this animation was never intended to be passed off as real footage. This is, you know, just an animation that Mission Control can show people while they're landing the craft. Because at the end of the day, the guys behind the control panel, they just need to see numbers. They just need to know the altitude. They just need to see the radar map. They don't need to see, like, the actual craft to land the fucking thing, right? But if you're going to televise this historical, you know, landing, you want to show something to the public. And they did the same thing with the Apollo landings. And that's like there's a video of Johnny Carson or whatever, or Dan Rather, and they're showing, like, animated footage of the lunar lander. And flat earthers or moon hoaxers have edited the video to make it look like the news is trying to pass that off as real footage, but they weren't. That was not what they were doing. Like, if you watch the original broadcast, that's most certainly not. And same thing here. Like, this is just like when they fire the thrusters on that device, or when that lander is firing the thrusters based on an automatic program, that animation shows it. That's all it's doing, you know? And so it's actually kind of sad that the guy making the video and the people in the comments who agreed with him actually think that this animation is representative of something. And it's kind of sad because I usually have common ground with this guy, but this guy really loses the fucking plot when it comes to human space flight. And it must be a consequence of living in the fucking UK where, you know, there's just like that inherent distrust of the state or something. And I get it. I don't trust the state either, but I mean, there's certain things like I'm comfortable buying or believing. But anyway, if anything else fails, let's say, for example, I can't prove the moon landing, but I can prove the earth is round. I can definitely demonstrate that. And it's okay. I got to go to bed too, Pop Culture Mechanics. So you have a good night. And with that being said, I think we actually covered all of the ground tonight. So perfect timing, actually, Pop Culture Mechanics. I don't want to be here a minute past 12, and it's 12:05. So did I find my missing Gundam leg? No. Can we find it now? I'm certainly going to try right now. Yeah, good thing I got another Gundam coming in the mail tomorrow, because looks like we're going to be cannibalizing more than just a single part in order to build it. And if I find the missing parts, or if I could replace the missing parts by making them myself, then yeah, I can build a second Gundam. And if not, I'll build a battle damaged Gundam, you know? But the next step is to build a master grade Gundam. So yeah, I'm disappointed I lost the freaking leg. I have no idea. Like, maybe it's in my bed. I'll check my bed afterwards, and if I find a leg, I'll tell you guys during tomorrow's stream. And tomorrow's stream, well, we're gonna have some microprocessors on stream, and I'm not gonna put them in focus right now, but you know, you got like a Pentium there, a Pentium 2, and we'll talk about that tomorrow. So for anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Oh, and before I say my usual spiel, I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. You know, Pop Culture Mechanic, JLM, our mod of mods at present, our latest mod. Joseph Dredd, friend of the Nerdporial Continuum. He already departed, but it's always good to see him. Bone, I believe Bone is also a moderator for Sully Eric O'Sullivan. And Eric O'Sullivan has a very good comic book discussion. I don't really do comic books, and I enjoy watching that guy talk. Lady Mist, of course. Definitely Lady Mist. Definitely, yeah. If that's the last name I named, definitely not the least of names, for sure. Oh, we had Alan Copeland here, too. Friend of Tron. Lemon Pie. And, you know, we just had good company here. So I want to thank all of you for dropping by. And once again, for anybody watching on the replay, if you have any questions, comments, or ideas, please leave a comment. Please like and subscribe. And for now, we shall end transmission. I don't know what to say about a total obstacle course or... Oh, habit trail. Okay. I see where you're going with this. All right. I'll keep that in mind there, JLM. It will show up when you don't need it anymore. You are absolutely right, Lady Mist, because that's what's going to happen with my Nintendo Switch controller. That's why tomorrow, if I play Pod Racer, we're doing it on an N64, because I probably won't find my Nintendo Pro controller for my Nintendo Switch tomorrow. But anyway, let's get out of here. So yeah, you guys have a good night. And once again, for anybody watching on the replay, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. And we shall now for real.